Rodents running rampant, rats in the cleanliness of the city streets are a top complaint for New Yorkers, and the sanitation department really tackling this problem, starting with trash. Take a look. New set-out times are now in effect for really the entire city. Residents must wait now until 6 p.m. the day before trash pickup to take out their garbage cans. And if they plan to just put the bags out to the curb, well, they cannot be out there any earlier than 8 p.m. So how will this actually rid the city of its rat problem? Well, Sanitation Commissioner Jessica Tisch now joining me to go on the record. And Commissioner Tisch is joining me now. Great to have you here in our new fancy studio.
Thank you for having me.
So first and foremost, let's talk about these new rules, right? Because this is big and it's a bit of a change for so many New Yorkers. Let's talk about how this will actually make a difference in deterring rats.
So right now, trash sits on the street 16 hours a day, every day. And it's not just a little trash, it's 24 million pounds of it every single day. And we know that a third of the material in those trash bags is food. And more importantly, it's rat food. So we're trying to shut down the all-night, all-you-can-eat rat buffet.
So it sounds like a great idea in theory, right? Who's actually going to be out there enforcing if somebody's actually following these new timelines?
So we do have enforcement teams. For the first month, we're only going to be issuing warnings.
Okay.
We know that this is a big change. It affects almost all 8.5 million New Yorkers. We want to be reasonable and give people a chance to get used to it. But come May 1st, if you got a warning during the month of April, we'll be back to see you. So
if you, after that month, and you're back to see them, right, what actually is going to be the fine or penalty for somebody who's dealing with that?
It starts at a $50 fine for early set out of trash. That hasn't changed. And I just want to make one other point to you. It's not just that we're asking New Yorkers to change. We're making huge changes at the Department of Sanitation as well. So we are collecting so much more of the trash earlier on our midnight shift rather than on our 6 a.m. shift. And historically, we've even collected trash as late in the day as 4 p.m. That means it sits out there for 24 hours. We're getting rid of that entirely.
Okay, so there's been a lot of talk about who the rat czar is. Are you the rat czar?
I am not the rat czar.
You're not the rat czar, but have you met with who the rat czar is?
I have not, and I'm going to let the mayor and the deputy mayor make that announcement.
Yes.
But I'm looking forward to working with the new rat czar.
Okay, perfect. Rats not only problem that's out on the streets of New York City causing some problems, right? Let's talk about dogs, because it's not the furry animals the issue, but more and more owners not picking up after their pets. Now, is this something that is on the Department of Sanitation's radar? Does that fall into your purview?
It's totally on our radar, and it's a problem that we know is getting worse. We have a real enforcement challenge with dog poop, and that's this. When one of our enforcement agents stops someone for not cleaning up after their pet, oftentimes we hear, well, I don't have my ID on me. And then the only recourse is to bring them into the precinct. So historically, the policy decision has been to not do that. But this is a big problem, and we are putting our heads together in the office and figuring out a more effective enforcement strategy. So more to come on that.
Yeah, I just wish people, I'm a dog owner, and just pick up after your dog.
Absolutely.
Come on. So you also recently wrote this op-ed in the New York Post about cracking down on illegal street vending. How does that fall into your responsibilities, and what are you really going after here?
So effective April 1st, responsibility for enforcing illegal vending has come to the Sanitation Department. We have a small group of sanitation police officers who enforce the basic rules in the city generally around cleanliness. And their work is really at the intersection of cleanliness, business, and accessibility. And oftentimes when we get complaints to 311, for example, about vending, it's vendors blocking curb cuts or making streets impassable to wheelchairs or people with strollers, or trash left behind, or grease poured down a sewer. So this is really the right space for the Department of Sanitation, and in particular our police department, to be operating in. And I think we can make a real quality of life difference.
So for those street vendors, though, they've kind of pushed back, saying that they don't want to be illegal street vendors. They want to get the proper permits, but there's this really long wait list to do so. How do you kind of streamline that process?
So just to be clear, we are taking over the enforcement end of vending. They would still work with the same city agencies, DCWP, the Department of Health, depending on what they're vending, to get their licenses.
So what does enforcement look like? For taking them off the streets? What is the enforcement?
So again, with enforcement, we're going to start with warnings. We don't want to be punitive. I don't believe in enforcement for the sake of enforcement, but I do believe in enforcement for the sake of making a quality of life difference for New Yorkers.
Okay, so will they get a fine?
Yep, after they get a warning, on the second time, they'll get both a fine and the material can be impounded.
Okay, gotcha. I do want to talk about the Queens composting program. We ran some video last week. I was very impressed with the dancing garbage can. So
it's not a garbage can.
The composting bin, excuse me. Yes, the composting bin. And it's been a huge success, right?
It has. We piloted the program for 12 weeks in Queens. And we took 13 million pounds of compostable material out of landfill.
Yeah.
And it was the most extraordinary results the city has seen in any composting program. And the mayor has decided that this is the program New Yorkers have been waiting for. It's effective, it's cost effective, and we're rolling it out citywide.
Yeah.
Starting last week in Queens.
Yeah, help people understand the process of taking the compost and really then turning it into things like mulch, right? Because it all goes back into the environment.
Yeah, so when you leave out your composting bin, so when any Queens resident leaves out their composting bin, we come pick it up once a week on their recycling day. And then our trucks take it to one of two places. We either take it to a composting facility where we turn it into soil, or we take it to an anaerobic digester where we turn it into renewable energy.
Okay.
It's a win all around.
Is that the stuff that when you turn it into renewable energy, is that the stuff that kind of stinks a little bit?
Well, it's going to power the grid.
Yeah, all right. You know, do you ever get tired of talking about it? I mean, it's a tough job to talk about some of this stuff.
I love talking trash.
I like that. Sanitation Commissioner Jessica Tisch, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Keep